Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be learning how I made this top. Yeah, so if it's something you want to learn, stay tuned to the end. Here is the fabric that I need for this and the lining that I need for it. And these are the tools that I need: my paper, my ruler, my tape rule. So let's get started. Now I'm going to mark out my baseline. And from my baseline, I'm going to take my chest measurement, that's my bust measurement. To achieve this, you're going to divide your bust by 6. Whatever you get, you add 1.5 to it. That will give you your actual chest line. Then my nipple pan, that's my shoulder to my nipple measurement. And my waistline, I'll point out whatever your waistline is. For example, if your waist is 16, you're going to add extra 1 for it for this tutorial. Yeah, you can see when I turn the back how it was short, so that will just give you like a little bit extension to it. So now I'm marking my lines across again. So I'm connecting all my straight lines, my chest line. So for my waistline, I used 18 instead of 17. So that's because I added extra 1 inch to it. I don't want to confuse us. So I'm marking out my lines, my chest line, my nipple pan, and my waistline. So here I am marking out 1 inch from the center front, and I'm going to connect it. As for the zipper, that's the 1 inch. Now I marked my under bust, my shoulder to my under bust is 14. Please kindly use your measurement. I'm going to mark across again. Why I mark across is so I can have a straight line when I'm rolling. So I'll label UB. I'm pointing out my lines, my chest line, under bust, my nipple pan, under bust, and waistline. So now let's work on the shoulder measurement. You can see where I'm taking my shoulder measurement from. My shoulder is 7.5. So I'm taking my shoulder slope, which is 1.5 for the front, and I'm going to connect like so. I'm going to divide into 2. Like you see me do, and mark it. Then I'll go in by 0.5. I will take out my chest measurement, that's my bust measurement. Sorry, I always call it chest measurement. My bust measurement. Then I'll connect my shoulder line. The most important thing is you don't have to take your chest measurement first. You can just connect your shoulder line. Once it curves to the extreme end like this, you're just good to go, because the rest will be straight. It doesn't really have to get to the point of that your chest line. So now I'm taking my waist measurement now. And I'll connect both my waist and my bust measurement that I've measured, like you see me do, like so. If you have any sharp edges, blend them off. I don't, for my case. So my shoulder to my underbust, like as you see me do, I'm going to connect. From that, my, you know, my round neck, my neck distance is 3 that I use. So I'm just connecting for that, from that point to the underbust point, like that. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go down by 6. You can, it ranges from 3, 4, 5. You know, I'm quite tall, so I need it to go down because my full top length is 26 actually. So I just need mine to go down a little bit. But you can do 5. 5 will be good, depending on your body size. So I'm going to connect. Like this. I connected the 1 inch because I want a straight line. So I'm going to connect from that 6 point I went down to the waistline with a curve ruler. So this is what you will get if you've done up to this part like this, if you're following the instructions. So now I'm going to take out my nipple pan. That's my nipple pan measurement. My dart. In this case, I'm closing the dart, but it's totally optional. You can put a dart. You sew the dart, like actually sew the dart on the dress. But this particular tutorial, I didn't sew the dart. I closed it. So me, I'm connecting the dart so to enable me close them. So I'm going to cut out to this point and I'll stop, so I'll have ease to close my dart. So this is me closing my dart. If you want to close yours, so right now you can go ahead and do that. I'll tape it down, then I'll correct the missing part. That you can see how much was missing from it. I'll just connect again. And I'll cut out. And I'll point out, if you're cutting the edge, it's advisable you fold this, your zipper allowance, you fold it in before you cut to the end. Now I'm cutting my underbust. I'm separating my underbust. So our front panel is ready. I'm just indicating with the arrow the upper part, the down part, so that when I'm connecting to fabric, I will know where to place and how to place it. I indicated my zipper allowance as well. Then I'll cut out for the upper part. I'll cut out the shoulder and the neckline, like so. Please note there's no allowance on this pattern, so I will add my necessary allowance when I'm cutting from the fabric. So you're going to do that. So now let's work on the back pattern. I've extended my lines my baseline, my chest line, and my waistline. Those are the necessary line needed here. So you see me, I'm putting CL, chest line, waistline. So I'm going to, you remember I said my waistline, I added extra 1 inch to it. So you're going to put the same measurement from your shoulder to your waist that I used for the front panel, for the back panel. I'm just now adding my shoulder line, and I'm moving it across so I can have a straight line. And I'm going to connect like so. I'm putting my round measurement. I used 1.5. You can use 1 if you want, or 2 if you're comfortable with it. What I did for mine is 1.5. Just sort of connected like so. So the slope for the front, for the back is 1. You know the slope for the front is 1.5, for the back is 1. So I'm connecting like this, and I'll just add my measurements. The back is quite straightforward. There's no zipper allowance at the back. There's no zipper for the back. So if you're cutting directly on your fabric, you should be on fold. So I'm going to add my dart allowance now. For the back, I'm putting my dart. I'm going to sew my dart without adding that allowance. I hope it makes sense. Then from the chest I came down by 1, and I'll connect from that one to the line on the connected line of the dart on the from the baseline. So I added my 0.5, 0.5. What I mean is, you know, when you add your dart, you replace it with 1 inch. But for this particular tutorial, I didn't. I want the back to be tight, you know. I want to have that grip on the back side of it, if that makes sense. But you can skip, you can add your dart allowance, please. I just pointed out what I did. If you want to do it the way I did it, no problem. Then I'm going to divide my shoulder line by 2. And went in by 0.2. Then connect. And I'll cut out. So we are done for the back. Now we're going to work on the upper part of the front line. I lost the video. I've already slashed and spread. I thought I was recording. Sorry about that. But I'm going to show you now. So all you just need to do is to divide your shoulder by 2. Mark the line, come down, do your shoulder to nipple point from the underbust. You know that this cutting, this V slant cutting we did for the neckline ended at the underbust, at the tip of the underbust. So it does not affect any measurement from your underbust, if that makes sense. So now if you connect it and you cross check, you see that you have your nipple to nipple pan. Actually mine was correct, accurate when I checked. So you just connect from that, dividing your shoulder by 2, the line you divided there, you connect it just straight down and you slash open. But towards the end of your slash, don't allow it to open up all totally. So what I sort of did was I just used my marking tape to like hold the upper part so that it doesn't move. And now the down part again. just so I will have a firm grip of my pattern paper while working. That's just what I did. Now I'm going to, so the opening I have for my slash is 2.07. So you can make 3, depend on how much gathers you want on it, but this came out okay. To give you that little gather, not that much, like the gather will not be exaggerated, like it will just be just little. So I connect, every other thing is okay, then just cut out. Cut out, transfer to your fabric, add your necessary allowance. Like I said, I didn't add any allowance on my pattern while I was working, so I'm going to add when I want to sew. Add your desired allowance. If you want to work with 1 inch allowance, if you want to work with 1.5, if you want to work with 2, but if you're a beginner, I always advise you have like 2 max, yeah, 2 or 1.5, so that if there is an error maybe in your measurement, you always have enough, because it's good to have enough allowance to adjust than for your allowance not to be enough for you to have shortage of fabric. You can't do any magic about it. So now I've cut out all my my fabric that I need, my interface. For the upper part, I didn't use paper interface. I used this one that is like a cloth. The reason is I found out that when I use paper interface, if I want to do a gathers, I don't like the effect it gives my work. So I prefer to use that. But for the other part of it, the down part of the upper panel and the back pattern, I added interface in all because the fabric I'm using is quite very light. So I just wanted to have a little thickness. So this is the upper part. This is the lining. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew the lining to the bodies, the center front and the back. Then I will flip it over to the right side. Then I will top stitch the down part on the right side. Let me repeat again. I'll sew the side, the center front side, the side like this. Then I'll flip over. Then I'll match in the front, from the front side. I will do a 2 matching there for my gather with a loose stitch, please. And if your machine does not do loose stitch, you can use needle, a running stitch, to do a gathers for the down part of it. That's it. If you're always having difficulties drawing the one you do for the machine, using needle is perfect. Just do a running stitch and you gather it to even give you more gather effect. Depends on how you sew them. So I've sewn it, just showing us. I'm going to do my gathers now. See the way I'm doing it, you do it gently. I matched twice. I have 2 lines, the first line and the second line close to each other. Reason for this is that when you're drawing, sometimes your thread tends to cut. You get. So when it cuts maybe from the first line, you have a backup from the second line. You can actually continue your work, if that makes sense. Because if you do a single line, if it cuts, that means whatever amount of gathers you've done, you have to go back to the machine to start afresh to draw to do a new line for it. So now I have done my gathers. Just take your time to do it. If this is your first time of doing it, yeah, it might be a bit difficult, but you get it. So this is what we're having. Now I'm going to take it to the waistline to see. This is how you're getting what you want. You know, you're going to notch your zipper allowance from the down part of the pattern. You know, the down is going to have a zipper. So now I'm cross-checking. I see that my gathers is quite too small, it's too tight. So I'm going to loosen it to have an even line with it because it's actually the same measurement that we're using. So we're going to have our gathers, but it's also going to align with the measurement that we have. So what we're only gathering is the gather space that we added to the work, if that makes sense. Hope I'm not talking too much. So I will gently spread across to till it gets close to the tip of it. You know why? Because the upper part has been sewn, so all the sewing allowance for the upper part for the sewing of the lining has been taken out. So you see, I'm sort of leaving like 0.3 on this side, you get, or 0.2 if you can sew 0.2. If you can't, that's why you need enough allowance as a beginner. If you can sew 0.2 or 0.3, you leave 0.3. You see, I'm going to top stitch on top of it like that and move the cloth inward and sew the down part. But I will advise, if you can sew the down part first, you know, top stitch your down part, then put your cloth and sew the upper part and the side. It will be perfect, because it will not, what we do is that your lining won't come out. Though I didn't do mine like that, I forgot. But it's not like my lining was really coming out, but I don't like seeing my lining at all, like the tip of it from my clothes, especially, you get. So that would be good. So now I sewed and I left like 0.3 from the side allowance. You can see that's why I can't flip the cloth out from. So what this process is going to do is that it's going to give you a neat finishing on the inside, you know. So now the space I turn out from, I'm going to iron. Then with the allowance, you know, I sewed on an allowance, I'll just tuck it in and iron, and it will look like nothing happened there. But I'm going to top stitch it to secure it after I've turned over. So make sure you notch all your edges. This is the second one. Notch all your edges, and so that when you're turning out, it will come out well. Now I'm going to sew the back. I'll sew the neckline round like so, then top stitch, then notch and top stitch, then the down part again like so, then notch and top stitch. After top stitching, before you stitch the side of it, then turn from the armhole side, if that makes sense. Now I've done that, I'm just trying to show us. Like I said, I love top stitching my clothes. Like most times when I have error after top stitching, I'm almost crying, because like, who sent me? Because I have to lose, and losing top stitch is very difficult anyways. So you iron, now I'm doing my waist dart for the back. I'm taking my waist dart, which is 4. I will do 0.5 for from the chest line. I will come down by 1. I'll just mark my chest line like that. Mark my chest line to give me guard. Then from there I'll go down by 1. That is where my dart is going to end. My dart leg is going to end. Then I'll connect a straight line. I'll do cross check my mark my nipple pan across there. Then connect with a straight line down to meet the one I marked on the baseline. This sort of like help you get a straight line. I've said it earlier. So I'll mark my 0.5, 0.5, then connect like that. You see what I did. I'm repeating the same process again. And I'll connect like so. With 0.5 on the baseline on each side. So total that we're taking out one from this side, one from the other side. Okay, so I've sewn my dart. This is what we have, and I've given it a good press. So now let's join the front panel, the neck, that's the shoulder panel, to the back and to the front. So what I'm doing here, you turn like this, but there's something I want to show us here. The lines are not equal, and the reason for this is because when you work with a pattern, you're supposed to have accurate whatever for the front and the back. So the reason this is like this is because of the slash and spread. So I'm going to show you that. So because of that slash, that little spread that went upward like that, the fabric has extended. The paper, it means automatically the front is a bit wider than the back. So what if you have this, it's not a problem. So all you do is join them together and mark where the SS is and just trim off. Okay, so that's what I'm doing now. I just said let me show us. I could do it, I could like edit it out and just show you where I'm joining the shoulder, but I just want us to get it right, you know. So now I'm trimming off just a little excess, not much. I'm just trimming it off like so. So all you need to do now is to join it back. Turn one with the lining. You can use the front one to turn the lining to the back. Like you can open it straight and sew like this, or you can turn like that. If you're opening it straight to sew, when you get to the front side of the middle part, just pin it. I don't know how to explain it better, but you get something like this, so the inside will be neat. That's the sense of sewing it like that. But if you can't, just match it straight from the back and weave it, it's still fine. So this is what we have already. Now we're going to take it aside and I'm going to cut my my sleeve. So for this sleeve, it's folded into 4. This side is folded into 2, then the other side, though they are folded together. So what we have total of 4. Just stressing this for a beginner. In case there's a beginner watching this video, you're welcome. So I'm going to take out my shoulder length, which that's how I do it. I don't know, it's 8. Mine is 8. So what I do is I'll put the 8, I'll add my how many allowance I added for the dress is what I will, if it's 8, then I added 2-inch allowance for the dress, or 1.5. I'm going to impute it. That's how I do mine. Then I will divide by 2. I'll mark 4 from the center front. I'll mark 4. Then I'll go down by 4. Sometimes I do 4.5. 4.5. Then from that 4, I'll connect to that 4.5 like this. And this is how I cut mine. There are better ways and other ways to cut, but this is how I cut my own. So for now, so I'm going to, it gives me the actual result I want. So because I need to do a gathers for the down, I'm using the whole of the down. It's not even enough. It didn't give me the puffiness that I want, but still okay. So I'm going to connect it to the tip like a slant. The length I'm using is 26. 26. When I'm done folding, I will have like 25. Like I said, because there's a elastic gathers, even with that 25, it's not looking, it's like it's jumping. So I am going to use a straight ruler. I'm just trying to like cross check if it will give me what I want, which is my shoulder length. I say I do 8 with my added allowance for sewing. So I'm just trying to see if it gets to that point. And I'll connect like so. You see that the ruler is slanted. You see? So if you want yours fuller, that's how it's going to be. The tip is going to, when you connect, it's going to look like a slant, or you're cutting a bias kind of, it's not going to be straight. So what that will do is that to make the down part fuller and the upper part narrow, if that makes sense. So I'm cutting out. So I'm going to notch the middle like so. So I'll take to the machine, I'll fold the down part first, where I will insert make a case where I will insert the allowance. I'll fold like so. I'll take it to the machine, then I'll sew. So let's do that. I'm done sewing the tip. Now I'm connecting I use pin to hold my shoulder measurement. See, I have what I want is accurate. So I'm going to take it to the machine, sew this side and sew this side as well. Then I'll do the gathers. I'll insert the elastic that I need. But let's sew the shoulder round first. Then I'm done sewing the shoulder, round shoulder. And this is what we have. Now I'm going to insert my elastic. But to get my elastic measurement, I'm going to put past the elastic around my hand like that, my wrist like that. But I don't like my elastic very tight. It's totally optional. You can make yours very tight. So I make sure I cross check how fit I want it on my sleeve, on my hand, and it fits my wrist. Then I join together to cut out, that I'm cutting out 2 pieces. I've done that. I'll just cut it. And yeah, if you have watched up to this point, you've not subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Please kindly hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get notified each time we upload new video. And if this is your first time of joining my channel, you're totally welcome. Please don't forget to like our channel, to like the video. This does a lot for a creator. When you like a video, it helps push the video, So that's the least you could do for a content creator. And you're welcome. I love you. And let us know if you try this video out. You can use our handle to drop a comment on the comment, drop a message. If you tried it, you can send us a picture of trying it and let us know if this tutorial was helpful to you by leaving a comment on the comment section. Thank you. Now I've passed my elastic. You saw the edge, I secured it with a pin. You could do this on your machine. Once you get to that tip, you just secure, then start processing or drawing the rest. So you have to drag it to make sure it stretches, drag it and get the desired stretch you want. Then you secure it by top stitching on the allowance. You can secure the allowance first before you do your normal stitching. Very important. So I've done that. So what I sort of did was the middle point, my zipper allowance, I sewed it with a loose stitch. So now I'm taking my measurements. I'm imputing my chest measurement and my waist measurement. So I'm going to connect. Yeah, I usually do. It's not everybody that does that, but that's how I do my measurement. Anytime I measure, I contour my under bust because your bust measurement is different from your under bust measurement, if that makes sense. So usually I do take out 0 point, depend on, because sometimes your bust can be 39, your under bust is 33.5 or so. So what I just do is basically I just do 0 0.5, 0 0.5 from my underbust. That's how I measure, do all my dress if I'm making, because that was how I was taught. And what that does is just give you instant fit. You get? So if you're not used to it, you can skip it. So that was me doing it, my underbust contouring, stitching my clothes, if that makes sense. So I'll do 0 0.5 on this side, 0 0.5 on that side. So basically it's like I'm removing, is it 1 inch or 2 inch from my actual measurement. Anyway, so now you're going to sew. If you're sewing, you're going to do a round. You see the way I did my hand. You're not going to sew straight. When you sew the tip, you move your hand outside, then move your hand inward towards the armhole side to get to your chest line, if that makes sense. So you see this place, the way it's tinted out like this, it's not a problem. We would have corrected it while cutting, but it's not a problem. Just fold it in, iron it, secure it. Then just when you're matching your zip, you just tuck it in. It's going to come out fine, because you saw my own, it was like that. So yeah, this is what we have. I'm going to just go to the machine and do that. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share our videos. See you in my next one, and drop a comment. Thank you for watching to this part. Bye.